So we start with chapter number 5, the burglary at the vicarage. Robbery takes place at the vicarage, and in this chapter, there's something good for you that it's a very small chapter and nothing much happens here. So, over to chapter number 5, the burglary at the vicarage. So, we come to know that Mr. and Mrs. Bunting, they are comfortably asleep in their house, and suddenly what happens that Mrs. Bunting, she has a feeling that the door of their bedroom was opened and closed. Before it, again, students, I would like to tell you that the celebrations of Whit Monday or Club Festival continues at the village Iping, and this the details relating to this festival, it's given in the various chapters, and I'll be covering up in a separate video also, so that you can have a whole lot of paragraph about this relating to the celebrations of Whit Monday. So after this, Mrs. Bunting, as she has a feeling that someone perhaps was there, so she tells Mr. Bunting to get up, as she has a feeling that someone was around. So Mr. Bunting gets hold of a poker stick and he starts looking around. The time at that time is 4 o'clock in the morning. Everything looks fine to Mr. Bunting, but definitely rustling of papers or as if someone is moving, that kind of sounds are heard by both of them. And a candle is also seen by them. A candle is lit. They both even hear a sneeze at that point of time. This I have told to you that the invisible man, with him, cold is common because most of the time he's without clothes. So sniffing and sneezing is something which is very common with him. So Mr. and Mrs. Bunting, they start looking. The chink of money is heard by them. They go towards the study from where actually the sounds are coming over, and they have a feeling that someone was there as a candle was burning, but no one could be seen. The question is that who lit the candle, and a drawer is there in the study which is opened up, and the money which was there in that drawer, it's all gone. So the poker stick Mr. Bunting is carrying, that is of no use because the robber, he's unable to see. It would have been of use had he been able to see the robber. So burglary takes in the vicarage. Money is stolen from vicarage, but Mr. Bunting and Mrs. Bunting, both of them, even though they are able to hear the sounds, but they are unable to see the thief. So they are helpless. They are unable to grab hold of him. The reason for this burglary is very simple, students. The invisible man, we know that he's staying at Coach and Horses, and all the time he's paying money to Mrs. Hall, and he's perhaps paying her lots of extra money. Now he's short of money. Vicarage is a place which has money which has been kept by the villagers, and this is the money he knows it would be of use to him, as from some time he has not given any money to Mrs. Hall, which will be discussed in the coming chapters. So finally the invisible man steals the money, and a violent sneeze is heard by Mr. and Mrs. Bunting in the passage. No one is seen. Both of them, they could hear the sound of the bolts, and still no one is seen over there. The kitchen door is opened, and then the back door is opened and closed, and the money which was there in the vicarage, that is gone. So it is very, very clear to them that someone was there who had stolen the money, but they were unable to see him. So definitely Bunting is going to relate that to the incident which was narrated to him by his friend Mr. Cuss. We remember that in the previous chapter, Mr. Cuss told that to Mr. Bunting that the man's hands were not visible. So, burglary in the vicarage ends with this only, that money is stolen from the vicarage, but who is the thief, who is the robber? That no one know. Definitely the suspicion is going to go on the invisible man only. So that's it for this chapter.